Scary stories in real estate. It is true. We face scary stories all the time. In today's episode, we're going to share some with you. Stay tuned. The Den, powered by the Lyons Group, a show that explores trending topics in real estate, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. We're a small team of professionals with over $400 million in sales and nearly 2,000 successful transactions. You're listening to time-tested experts and industry leaders. Here's a refreshing look at real estate happenings and more. Welcome to The Den. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of The Den. And today is our Halloween version of real estate. And we're going to talk about some scary stories and share some fun, right? I think some of these are fun, but some of them are probably pretty terrifying too. In fact, I got a real scary one, but we'll save mine for later. We're going to go straight to the mermaid today. Now, Shannon, is this like, what is that, cosplay? What do you?
Cosplay? LARP?
No, no, that's not who I am.
You don't show up to the festivals like this?
I don't, no.
Up over there.
Yeah.
I
very rarely wear blue hair.
I think you should have your hair like that all the time.
I do
I'm
too.
a fan. I actually really like it.
Yeah, it actually looks good on you.
I actually do like it.
I really like it.
Yeah, you would be awesome at a festival. I can tell you that much.
Right.
If you ever want to go to a Renaissance fair, Shannon, I'll go with you.
All right. It's a date.
So scary, fun,
for it.
horror stories. Share with us today, Shannon.
Well, one time I did have a buyer's dad show up at a home inspection.
Oh, yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah, that was scary.
Okay. Now that's not my scary story.
Well, if you really want scary, you should see me in my Christmas jammies. So we'll skip that for later. But okay, on to the story, Shannon.
So probably I've had a couple of scary times in my career, but probably one scary time, which I always talk about. There's a house in Sunrise subdivision. I always say I was almost murdered in that house. I tell everybody that. So I was having an open house, and I, when you get to the end of the open house and people have kind of trickled out, it's been a busy day, and you're kind of just picking up your things. I thought I was alone in this house. I did not hear anybody. Nobody was there, and I was cleaning up in the kitchen, just picking up my stuff, getting ready to finish. And you ever just have that feeling someone is there, someone is breathing down your neck. And I whipped around really fast with this, really bad gut feeling. And there's a guy who's like literally this close, right behind me.
That's so creepy.
Wow.
Why would anybody do that? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
And didn't announce himself?
No.
Now, had you seen him in the open house earlier?
No, I hadn't seen him.
Oh.
I didn't notice him, but it was a busy open house and I didn't really notice him. And, usually your first thing you would get startled and then kind of laugh or, oh, sorry, you scared me. But I knew immediately like something wasn't right. And so
that close to you? That's weird.
As soon as I turned around and because I could feel somebody there. As soon as I turned around and I knew that somebody was there, I immediately I said, oh goodness, I'm sorry. I didn't know anybody was here. And I moved around to the other side of the island that I was picking my papers up to put a little distance between us. And he said, well, I need a little bit of help. Can you come look at some stuff with me? And I was not going to leave that room.
No.
I was not going to leave where I was.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I said, well, what do you have questions on? I can probably answer anything that you need. And he said, well, I have some questions about some things I found in the crawl space. I wanted you to go look at it with me. And that just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Nobody goes into a crawl space on an open house.
Yeah, and so why would I have some things in the crawl space I want to check out?
Yeah, he wanted me to, explain to him or talk to me about. And as if I'm really going to crawl in a crawl space with a stranger. I would never do that.
I've had a guy ask me to go in the crawl space too. And I'm like, you are out of your mind. It was a vacant house.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had a showing set up. Mm-hmm. He was looking, and whenever I tell you I could not be farther away from this man, he's in the crawl space in like the closet, and I'm in the living room by the front door. Yeah. He's like, come look at this. I'm like, I wouldn't know what I'm looking at anyways. I'm like, I'm not going over to that crawl space. And I'm going to, she knows, if she's listening to the podcast, she knows it's coming. Kelsey Booker has gotten in the crawl space with somebody, and we all should shame her.
Better.
She should know better. Kelsey. And I've shamed her so many times, and she's like, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, Kelsey, stay out of the crawl space.
How could you not think about that?
And then I guess that happened again where someone asked her, and she's like, and I said no that time. I was like,
good.
Well, she learned her lesson. Good. She won't be a statistic.
Quick learner.
I was telling her, I was like, yeah, this creepy guy was asking me to get in a crawl space, and you see her face just go.
Is that a bad thing?
I've done that before. Yeah.
Like, what do we do?
Do we frown on that in this industry?
We do frown on that. You won't catch me down there.
Next time I ask, are you going to murder me down there?
Yeah.
And see what their reaction is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because clearly that's what he had in mind.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So what did you do?
So I just kind of deflected. I told him no. I told him that we're not, him or myself are not bonded, licensed, and insured. So we're not allowed in certain areas like the crawl space and the roof and things of that nature. And that, I wouldn't go down there. And if he had some questions, we can certainly hire a home inspector or ask the seller, to make explanation of something. So I wouldn't do that. And he did push a little bit, and he could see that I was uncomfortable. And, this was, we all had cell phones back then, but we didn't have like all the technology, like tracking things and stuff like that, or buttons, things you could push. We didn't have a lot of that. I did have my phone in my hand, and I kept just thinking, how am I going to dial 911 without him seeing me? I was very afraid of this man, and I don't know what his motives were. I did tell him, he said, he said, I've got a few more things I want to see around the house. I said, no problem. I said, I'm done now. I'm wrapping up. So, we do need to go. And I told him, the sellers will be home at any minute because they're expecting it to be over with, which I'm sure they weren't.
Sure.
And so I stepped outside and went and waited by my car until he left. He stayed in there about another 5 or 10 minutes. And I don't know if he was waiting for me to come back in or what he was doing. And I've never left people alone in a house before, but I wasn't going to be alone in that house with him anymore. So I went outside and I waited there. And when he left, I, gave him a wave from across the driveway. He got in his car, and I went in and I locked every door in the house while I finished cleaning up. And I went to the back, and sure enough, the crawl space lid was off in the master closet. It was sitting on the floor. He had been in the crawl space or had intended on going in that crawl space.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what his intentions were. But I do know that they couldn't have been good. Yeah. Nobody behaves that way.
Well, I'm glad his first run was with you and not Kelsey.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, she would have been a statistic for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. Let's get in a dark place that no one can, see and with a stranger.
And it's just the vibes too, because I have had people look in a crawl space before. Like one time I was showing this couple, and he was a plumber, and he's like, it's really important to me. I want to see like some of the mechanicals of the house. I'm like, okay, I'm not going under there, but like because I don't know what I'm looking at, and it's not going to be helpful.
The majority of people don't, but if somebody does, it's usually legitimate.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
And he was like, he asked if he could look in this one specific. I was like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. But then that other guy that was like, come look. I'm like, no. No, I'm not getting in there. Absolutely not. I'm not coming out. I'll make one like joke,
I promise.
And then I'll be almost a little bit like firm. I'm like, no. Like I'll be like, oh no, I won't even know what I'm seeing anyways. And then don't keep pushing though.
Yeah.
That's right. It gets weird.
Yeah.
Put the dog in the basket. Hi, I'm Ben Lyons, a partner at the Lyons Group. We're dedicated to making your real estate experience the best it can be. If you're looking to buy or sell, go to sjcbroker.com and watch our informational video series. These videos break down the process and shed some light on buying or selling. While you're there, schedule a private consultation with one of our partners. We'd love to sit down, talk strategy, and give you a real advantage in today's market. You deserve the best. So take those steps, and we'll see you soon. Now back to the show. All right, Paul. You're up. Scary story.
Well, I have to preface this story. When I grew up in a house my great-grandfather, maybe great-great-grandfather, had built. And everybody said his ghost stayed in the house. And, throughout my childhood, we go into the kitchen and cabinets and drawers would be open. And I mean, all the things that people say are in a haunted house, like you watch Poltergeist, but I guess he was related to us, so it was never anything bad happened. We called him George.
He wasn't scary.
He wasn't scary. But I had this feeling I knew when he was around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I had that, in the pit of your stomach or your chest feels tight. So I always had that going into a house where I thought there was a ghost. So I remember one of the first houses that I was showing was out by Kirby Orchard back there. And back there, all the houses have like a downstairs canning room or something like that. So I remember going to this foreclosure and all the lights are off and my phone was in the truck. And I had this guy that or this, it was a couple, but the guy really wanted to look at everything else. I said, well, I don't have a flashlight. He says, well, you go first. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird too. I don't have the flashlight.
You go first.
And as soon as I get down there, I start to have that feeling, and I'm like, I got to act tough. I can't freak out in front of this guy, but I started really freaking out.
Yeah.
I said, well, you take your flashlight and you go the other way. So I kind of back up into a corner, and I'm seriously freaking out. I was like, have you seen everything yet? He goes, there's another room back here.
Great. This is how horror movies start.
I honestly said, I wasn't thinking of that stuff, but I thought I didn't think he was going to hurt me, but I thought there's a ghost here. So I was like, no, you go ahead. I'm good. I'm out of here. And he goes, what? I go, I'm afraid of the dark. And I took off. But I remember going home. I brought my wife back home, and we always said, if you don't want George to be in the room, turn the shoes over under your bed and he'll leave you alone. Because when we first get there, he was slamming doors and stuff.
Wow.
And so she freaked out, and I said, put the shoes upside down under your bed and he'll leave you alone. And it worked.
Wow.
She lived there for 6 months and never messed with her again.
Good heavens.
But there's rarely houses and it's funny because you have to tell that whole story. Because everybody says, has anybody died in this house? I always go, nope.
No. Well, I know now to say I'm afraid of the dark and just skedaddle.
I'm afraid of the dark.
Yeah, because that works apparently.
He didn't buy the house, so I never saw him again.
He was like, I'm going to go get me a realtor.
Realtor,
Yeah.
I'm going to go find me Kelsey.
Where's
Kelsey?
That's right. Someone who's willing to explore anything in this house with me.
All right, Aspen, you're up.
So I was trying to think, because I just haven't had that many like scary things happen. But there was one time I was showing a house in Denver, and it was kind of a hoarder's house. Like there was just stuff kind of everywhere. It was an older house. And in this neighborhood that was kind of getting gentrified, it was like people were tearing down these older homes and putting like, they were buying like two and putting like mansions on them basically. So we were looking at this one house. And a lot of these older homes had like cellars that you go down in, but they were like full basement cellars. And so we were looking upstairs, and when we were upstairs, and again, this is like during the day, there's me, my friend was looking for a house to buy, and then two other people with us too. So it's not like we were alone. We were with a group. It was during the day. So lights all were on in the house. So we're flipping them on, and we just all felt weird in this house. But again, this up and coming neighborhood, really good investment. It was kind of like we're looking past the weird vibes in the house. It's like every time we went in a room, there was like beds with stuff piled on it and then blankets like covering the stuff. So it's
weird.
Oh, is there like someone underneath? Like it was just like the whole time you were just feeling kind of like weird vibes. But it seemed normal-ish, just like an older, messy house kind of. And then we go in to the cellar. So anytime you would go, they're almost like ADUs there. So you go like outside, and then it has a separate entrance, and we were going down. And then you could get to it from the inside too. So there was like two ways to do it, but both of them you have to like duck under. It's like low hanging kind of, but they had put in like a kitchenette. And then it was kind of, but when we went down into this basement, we all felt like just heebie-jeebies kind of. And I was like, man, I just don't love it here. And it was like my close friend, like she's one of my closest friends. So I was kind of like, it's weird down here. She's like, yeah, I don't know. And she's not into that stuff at all. She's like, it's just a house. It's fine. But she was kind of feeling like, she's like, I feel like there's like people hiding in here. I'm like, I know, that's what I feel like too. And we go back and through, and it was kind of like that, where it's just like room and then a room and then another room. And it's like, they're all just pieced together. And it starts this isn't like an updated like basement either. So we're like getting in there.
Denver is probably built in the early 1900s.
It was an old house. So we like are going in, and we like look, and we're like going one room to the next to the next. And then they were getting like older and kind of creepier. And then all of a sudden we walk into this one room, and it has like, it's all concrete floors. It's like cinder block walls. It has a medical bed just like in there. There was like locks on stuff. The windows were like painted black. And I was like, I don't want to be in this room anymore. So it was like just little tiny windows, like up at the top for like ventilation or whatever. They were like painted black, and then they had like little curtains over it too. And it was just like the rest of the house had like stuff kind of all over. And in here was like the medical bed, and then like a bed, like an old metal bed with like no mattress on it. And I was like, I don't like it in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why? So I mean,
I don't know. She actually ended up putting in an offer on the house, but it was a bunch of offers on the
You
house.
got to think about like, why would you have a medical bed in a room like that?
Yeah, it was.
Why
it wasn't
would an owner
inaccessible,
paint the windows black in a basement?
It was weird.
Well,
and
that's
put
where you
curtains on
keep your captives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the
It wasn't
cadavers.
in like, it wasn't an accessible room, because like I've been in houses where there's like
Yeah.
medical beds, and you know, maybe they
Sure.
don't have like the
Yeah,
flooring
but they're
because
sick
it's nice.
people, so
Yeah.
you have them in a
Yeah.
nice space where you're comforting them.
Yeah, this was like, I want to say there was like, I can't remember. This was a long time ago, but I feel like there was something like painted on the wall. I'm gonna have to go back and find this house, but I swear there was like eyes or something like painted. It was just creepy.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just creepy.
Ooh.
But nothing, no one in the house. I mean, that's about as scary as it got for me. She put in an offer. She did not get the house.
That's like those people that, in a scary movie. No, I don't want to go into that cemetery.
Yeah.
No, let's not go upstairs.
Yeah.
while
Let's
the
get
guys-
in the running car and drive away.
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
gosh,
let's
yeah.
not do that. Let's
I
go
read
hide behind the
this-
shed.
You guys need to read this book. It's hilarious. So I think it's called September House, and it's about this couple who buys a haunted house, but it's a gorgeous house. And so the whole book, it's kind of like a comedy. She's like, yeah, sometimes blood runs down the walls, but like, have you seen the molding? Like,
Yeah.
that's how the whole book is. It's actually really, it's like,
It is hard to find a good
yeah.
house.
Yeah, it is.
It's a scary book. It's like actually kind
Yeah.
of scary, but it's really funny, like through the whole thing. Cause she says stuff. She's like, I just have to learn to live with the screaming children.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
The footsteps in the hall in the middle of the night. So years ago, I had a company and I had a realtor that worked for me. His name was James, and he was getting up there in his years, but he was really excited about stuff all the time. And so one day at the office, James comes bolting in, and I'm like, what's going on? And James is like, you got to listen to this. And I'm like, okay, well, spill it on me, James. He goes, I was just up there the street showing a house. It was an older house. And he goes, I walked in with my clients, and there's a basement off to the left. And he said, when he was walking over there, he saw something move. And then he goes, hey, hello, anybody down there? Now, keep in mind, this is a vacant home. So he's like, anybody down there? They didn't hear anything. And so he clicks the lights on, and they start walking down the steps, and the lights click off. And so he kind of steps back, and he goes, hello, realtor, anybody down there? And, is yelling. They don't hear anything. So he clicks the lights on again, and they start working their way down the steps, and the lights click off.
No.
And he is like, I'm out of here. So
Yeah, no way.
he had seen something move, and then the light situation. So he comes bolting in, and he's like, this thing is crazy. I said, well, what's in the basement? He goes, I don't know. I didn't even get down in the basement. I said, okay. So we had another realtor that worked with us, Whitney, if she's listening. Hi, Whitney. If you listen to this, we love you. Whitney's like really sensitive to like spirits and things like that's kind of her thing. Like she energies, and she does a lot of readings and stuff like that. So I told Shannon, I said, I'm going to take Whitney up there and just see what, see if she senses anything. So I go up to this house. I'd never been there, and I open it up, and we walk in, and immediately Whitney goes, I just don't like it here for some reason. She made some comment to that effect. I'm like, oh, well, cool. Let's go check out the basement. So we walk over, and the lights were on for the basement. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So I didn't have to, click them on and click them off type of thing. And we start walking down the stairs, and she like literally is like, I don't really want to be here right now. And I'm like, well, come on, let's just check this out.
So you're the person in the scary movie that gets
keeps leading us.
gets her killed probably too.
Let's go hide behind the shed. So we get downstairs, and immediately she goes, this is not, I need to get out of here. And I go, okay. I had no problem. Let me just walk around the corner and shut off the lights and whatnot. So I walk around the corner, and I go over there, and I turn the blinds, and these were two big windows with window wells. So it's a basement, and they just look out to dirt, right? And so I go turn the blinds, and sure enough, on the blinds were painted eyes, huge painted eyes. And so I had shut. So when you're talking about the eyes, I was like, oh my gosh, we shut those, and Whitney's like, I'm out. And so we left. Come to find out, there was the guy who lived there was a predator.
Oh, geez.
And had been locked up. And the family had, it had been many, many years, but the family was selling it. And it was, when we found out kind of the history of the house, it all kind of made sense. It was a terrible, terrible feeling to be in it. But yeah, that was scary. That was really scary. So if you ever hear me go, hey, just don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Shannon, I want to show you a basement.
You know what though? That's like,
thanks.
This is where I almost think, am I like a bad realtor? Sometimes it happens very, very rarely because I always make sure lights are off, everything's locked up, and I'll make sure, but if I get a weird vibe from something, I'm not going to check if that light's turned off. Like I'll lock the doors. I always make sure the door's locked, but I'm like, sometimes I'm like, what if there's someone in the closet or something? You don't know. No way. I'm like, I just need to leave, and I'll call the other side. I think I left the light on, but something was weird. I felt weird. And so I think I told you guys about the one house that I sold that was remodeled. Same person, by the way. Yeah. Carrie.
Gluttons.
Yeah. I think I've told you guys, she remodeled this house like beautifully, looked great. And then she sold it, and it was some people that I had sold it to from Vicedo. And then they decided they wanted to move back to California. And so I was selling it again. And this lady, little old lady, super Christian, like not someone you would think like would be thinking this. She's like, and she knew that I knew the other person that sold it really well. She's like, has someone died in this house? I was like, I don't know. It's older, who knows? Right. But it's like, she had remodeled it where you couldn't even tell. And I was like, I really don't know. She's like, sometimes I'll walk around a corner and I'll see someone standing. She's like, specifically in the kitchen. She's like, there's just people. She's like, I always see people standing in the kitchen, and then I blink a few times and it goes away. And I'm like, I will ask.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will ask because I do know the other person really well. And I was like, hey, Carrie, I was like, I told her I would ask, and I'm going to. I was like, do you know if someone like died in the house or anything? She's like, she keeps seeing people in the kitchen. She's like, you know what? She's like, in the pantry, whenever I was remodeling it, the whole inside of like this walk-in pantry had like pentagrams and stuff drawn all over it, all on the ground, all on the inside. She's like, I never feel weird about stuff, but she's like, inside the pantry, there was all that stuff, and it's right on the kitchen. Wow. And I was like, and you didn't tell me?
Yeah.
No.
There's a portal to the other side in the pantry.
Let me walk right into that.
And whenever Carol was telling me about seeing people, I was like, we're in the house. I was like, well, let's leave. What are we doing? You do not have to tell me twice. If you feel a weird vibe, let's go. Let's leave.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is not the house.
Especially women, man. Women have that gut instinct that guys are a little more hee-hee.
Yeah. That's one thing, though. I think guys should be more in tune with it in real estate, because maybe in like life, it's not as common for like men to be victims. But in real estate, it really is almost 50-50 for men and women.
Well,
so
we're
I think
meeting strangers in vacant houses, and that is not the best scenario. There's been a lot of things that have happened over the years.
I like that we can do background checks and stuff now.
Yeah, nowadays it's a big thing. Well, remember Emma, Shannon? So Emma had this instance.
I remember she had a scary one.
So this guy called her and wanted to see this house that had just been listed. And back then, this was a really high-end home. But it was on this acreage, and it was down this wooded lane. And she just kind of had a bad feeling about it. So she still went. And she pulls up, and the guy comes walking down the lane. And she's like, that's kind of weird. Like, why would he walk down the lane? And so she got out and he greeted him, and she just didn't feel right. And so she walked over to the front door. Now, keep in mind, this is a big 2-story vacant home, and kind of, tucked away in the middle of nowhere. And so she opened the door, and he goes, no, after you. And so she goes, no, after you. And he goes, no, after you. And so she finally kind of stepped into the house, and he goes, I want to go see upstairs first. And immediately, and she was like, why wouldn't you want to see the rest of the house?
She's like, lead the way.
Yeah. And so she goes, okay, well, after you. And he goes, no, after you. And so it got really awkward. She said they did that like 3 or 4 times, like after you, after you, after you. And so finally he said, okay, fine, I'll go up first. So he starts walking up, and he got about halfway up the stairs, and she turned around and ran out the front door. By the time she got to her car and slammed her door and locked it, he was beating on the window.
Oh my gosh.
He had chased her down the stairs and out the door, was beating on the window. And she had thrown it in reverse and was, heading out. And so when she got back to the office, I was like, Emma, oh my gosh, if you ever have a feeling like that, like, let us know. We'll go.
Don't walk into that.
You remember that, Shannon?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Did she call the cops
Did you
or
guys
something?
call the cops?
Yeah, we did. I don't remember what came of it, but yeah, I mean, those people disappeared. And this was way before surveillance cameras and stuff like that, early 2000s.
And you got to consider back then, we didn't have social media. We didn't have cameras on our phones, where
we had the flip phones.
Yeah. Where now, there's a lot of things we can look before we go, look people up. But also, if you start getting creeped out, you start taking pictures of, their license plate right in front of them. You text it to your office. Oh, it's that's routine. We text, who are meeting to our office.
Mm-hmm.
And then they know, oh shit, well, they already know who I am now. You start giving off those kind of vibes. You can do those things if you're feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We didn't really have those kind of tools back then. We also didn't have sharing tools where you could immediately go to, social media and say, does anybody know this person?
And like
or
looking
watch
people
out for
up
this person
beforehand. Because you can say you'll get a license and stuff, but I'm sure it was a lot harder.
Yeah.
Then versus now being like, oh,
all
could
you
you
could
email
really
me
do
over
then
or
was call
text
the
it
board
over?
office and say, hey, I had a scary incident. Will you put it out to everybody so everybody's aware? And then we would just notify everybody to watch out for this person.
This was the name, if it is them or not.
That's not a good system.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for somebody to.
Yeah. All right. We got time for one more. We got about 2 or 3 minutes. I've got one if no one has one.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay. This was a hearsay. So I wasn't actively involved in this one, but Elizabeth, a good friend of ours, a former broker, she had an instance where a friend of hers called and said, hey, I got a call to go out and do this market analysis, and I just don't feel right about it. And Elizabeth, wonderful woman, was like, I'm going to go with you. Let's just go together. And so they drive together out to this property, and it's way out on Sullivan Road. And it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. And they pull up to do you remember this story, Shannon?
It's funny now that you're saying this because she was actually with Vicky at the time. I worked at Coldwell Banker.
Was it Vicky?
Those two ladies, yep. I worked at Coldwell Banker. I remember when that happened, and I remember how scary it was for everybody.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong when I tell the story, but they pull up to this property, and it's just this little single wide out in the middle of nowhere. And this guy, so they pull up and they get out and they start walking to the front door. And this guy opens the door. They knock on the door and he opens the door, and they look in and they don't see anything in the house other than a tripod and a camera set on top of it. And I think a TV. And then immediately when he opened the door, a guy came around from the side of the mobile home. And so then they recognized there was 2 people there. And I think Vicky and Elizabeth kind of just backed themselves in, got into the car and took off. Is that how you remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but the fact that there was...
They were calling her out for a setup, obviously. Yeah. And I think it was just divine intervention that someone said, hey, I'll come along with you, you know, because how many times do we go out on those kind of appointments just by herself? If she had been alone, I don't know that she would have come back.
Yeah.
That's very scary.
The guy flanking her around the side of the home immediately when the door was open. That is scary. So there are nefarious people out there, and these are
they weren't expecting having more than one person out there, I think.
Yep.
And I think we're so nervous about like being professional or not making a scene. I always say I'm a make a scene person, but I'm not, but I'm trying to put it in my mind, like make a scene, like you should make a big fuss, I think that really does like kind of throw people off, but it's not your initial gut reaction. Yeah. Like even when the guy behind you at the thing, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, versus like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why, like, you know.
Yeah, get away from me. Yeah.
Because normally you would just kind of laugh it off and just be like, oh gosh, you startled me. I didn't know you were there. But you know when something's not right and you take a whole different tone and you put some distance between you and stick to business.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not funny that he scared me. I'm not going to giggle it off.
Yeah, it's not funny.
Yeah. 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 There are some creeps out there that we run into.
I had a couple that was creepy. And I was like a football field away from them.
I think you told us that story
on the last television. Fake phone call and all.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we'll have to save that story for another time because we're winding.
Or they could go watch the last ones last year.
Oh my gosh.
Shannon had a really scary one last year that had my heart.
Yeah. You'll have to tell that one again too, Shannon. But that kind of rounds out some scary stories for us for here at the Den. We we embrace these scary stories sometimes, and other times we whimper in the corner, and that's usually me. Paul's the tough guy, unless it's dark. So
I look tough with these on, don't I?
That's right. That's right.
but yeah, round out. Happy Halloween, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful and safe time out there trick-or-treating with your family and your friends, or hosting a party or whatever else. Go hug a loved one. But thank you for listening to this episode of The Den. If you like our content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can go to sjcbroker.com and sign up for our newsletter. We have a fantastic newsletter, or you can schedule a private consultation with any one of us here. We don't always look like this, but
But if you request, we will wear our outfits if you request.
Yeah, by request, maybe. But thank you for listening to this episode of The Den. Until next time, we'll see you then. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Den, powered by the Lyons Group. Hit the subscribe button to keep informed, and check the show notes below for direct links to our buyer and seller video series. The buyer and seller video series can give you an inside track on taking the right steps in real estate. If you'd like to learn more about the Lyons Group or to schedule a consultation, go to sjcbroker.com. Complex markets require complex strategies. The Lyons Group can give you a true advantage in any market. Whether you're buying or selling, residential or commercial, contact us directly at sjcbroker.com. We're time-tested experts with a client-first approach, and we'll see you next time in The Den.